Hi, I'm Mark Comosio and we're Gunmark TV. And we're going to show you today an interesting rifle, which is the Reximex Zone. Reximex being the big Turkish manufacturer, and Zone is one of their new bullpup models. So we're going to take you through the features. We'll obviously give it a good shoot out and see how it performs, and then we'll sort of give a summing up and see what we think of it. Now Reximex, if you're not familiar with them, they've suddenly really come on strong in the last few years, and they're a big Turkish manufacturer. They do firearms as well, but they've really noticed that there's a big market in air guns, so that we've had more and more, all PCP, but we've had a lot of air guns through from them, and they're very well served by their UK distributor, Range Right, who are very proactive, and so we're starting to see a lot of very exciting air guns. So the Reximex Zone, as you can see, it's a bullpup design, as in the action sits right towards the back of the stock. Very popular, sort of mimicking, it sort of comes from the military side, but it's become very popular in our airgun world. Interestingly, I looked at the Reximex lineup of guns, and I think they've got something like 7 bullpups, more than any other of their designs, which shows the popularity of these things. The Zone is a new model that they've come out with. I've got it in walnut, surprise surprise, I'm a bit of a fan of that, but you can get this in a synthetic stock, and if you do go down that route you'll get an adjustable butt pad. So let's look at the features here. Starting at the front, you've got a threaded muzzle where you can add on a secondary silencer. You've got a full length barrel shroud, which it does actually really nicely eat the muzzle report of this, so it's reasonably quiet, but if you really want to go the whole hog, obviously you'll lose that short profile, but you can add a silencer on. You've got a manometer, pressure gauge in the front of the cylinder. Obviously we don't like it there, but everyone's doing it. Most manufacturers are doing that. Just be careful when you're looking down it. We'll show you the detail of this. You've got that's your filling valve there, the probe style. Main compression cylinder here. It's quite a long cylinder actually here, so there's a big air capacity on this. These are important point to make. These are regulated actions, and we'll give you the figures and performance later. But so it's regulated. You're going to get a fair number of shots and more finely metered than with no regulator, obviously. Now moving back, you can see your barrel support there. It's sort of that classic bullpup configuration, so we sort of call these the intermount arrangement, where it's actually a raised sight rail above the action. You can see your barrel through there. You've got a Picatinny, full length Picatinny rail here, and it's a very firm mounting up. You need the right mounts, but there's so many available now, that's no problem. Now you've got a second pressure gauge here, and this is purely going to show, it permanently shows the regulator pressure. So don't look at that and think, I've got to admit, when I first got this I thought it wasn't responding properly, thinking that was the main gauge, but you've got the main gauge residual pressure at the front. This is your permanent regulator pressure, so that's always going to show, it's around about the 100 bar level. Moving back here, Reximex tend to put a power adjuster on most of their guns, and it's a great feature. We've got wound up to maximum here for outdoor testing, but if you're at home, you're in a backyard and you want to get a lot more shots out, you don't need full power. Just wind that down, and it's like a sort of Venturi style. It's restricting the airflow, and the power comes right down, but of course you'll get loads, hundreds more shots. It's good feature, great feature. One negative on this, I'd say, is unlike a sort of totally dedicated bullpup, where when you shoulder it, your bolt is in the middle, This is a more conventional action that's then been put into, that's also given the bullpup process, and of course your bolt is still there, so it's not so easy to cycle that when it's in the shoulder. But I've got to say, yeah, I was really impressed with this on test, and you sort of have to overlook that after a while. You've got obviously a magazine feed or single shot. So, and this comes with a box of tricks, which we'll show you in detail. So you've got your magazine that will load in there, and as I say, you can just shoot it single shot if you want to. Thumb hole configuration, 2-stage trigger, adjustable trigger blade. It's a remote setup inside. I did have this apart the other day, and it's slightly crude on the adjustment. When you see it, it's a basic nut hanging off the end of a remote linkage. However, in use, it's a very nice trigger. So once you get over the shock of seeing how they've set it up, it shoots really well. So yeah, nice bit of kit. So that's the Reximex Zone. We'll look in more detail. So Reximex are quite comprehensive with this. So you get this in your main box with the Zone. So you open that up, you get a nice instruction booklet. It's quite, you've got all your test data. This is all from the factory. That should give you a few targets. You get 2 of their rather leery looking cassette style magazines. That is one of the spacer inserts that actually goes underneath the cheek piece. So you've got 2 of those to play with, and they just create height on the cheek piece. All your Allen keys, you've got spare seals as well. And then in addition, you've got a long Allen key, which is for the stock screw. You've got an accessory rail that can bolt under the fore end if you want it. You often find that's in the place where your hand wants to be, so I don't tend to put them on. But it's a great little thing to have. Brilliant accessory just to throw in there. That's the probe style adapter for filling. And this is your single shot tray. And that snaps in, and then you just roll, you're effectively rolling the pellet across. Works really well. It looks a bit clumsy, but it actually works really well. They're quite impressive. So yeah, it's a decent box of tricks there. You've got everything to get started. So the cassette style magazine, these are becoming very familiar now on the market. Everyone sort of, or most manufacturers, are using much the same system. So you've got a direction of the arrow there. So that's just dial it clockwise. You can see the inner drum is moving. Yeah, you know you've gone the wrong way if it's not moving. But move that all the way around, and then when you can see a clear hole through. Put your finger under the bottom of that hole, so you're not letting the pellet drop all the way through, and drop your first pellet in. Now that is now holding the little spring mechanism, and then gently go back, return the lid, and as you go, drop a pellet into each chamber, and that's it. And just fill it in that process all the way around, and then close it up, and you're ready. So if you don't want to use the magazine, you've got the option of a single shot tray, and in theory you get slightly better accuracy, but it's just how you want to do it really. So that whole block you slide, again it's got the same as the magazine, there's a guide ridge, so you just line that up with the inside of the slot, slide it right over, and then the bolt can return. Now when you're in play, slide it back slightly and drop your pellet in, trying to keep it up the right way. The pellet then sits head first in the trough, and you snap that all the way back, and the bolt can return, and we're ready to fire. So as you can see there, you've got an adjustable trigger shoe on the trigger, which is great, and then just in front of that is an in-guard safety catch, and that is literally, you apply it from the left side, and then when it's obviously sitting on there, it's easy to nudge off with the trigger finger, so then you're ready to go. So yeah, very handy. Right, we're going to do some shooting now, and we've got on here to use with it a Conus Pro Evo 3-12 by 50, quite a neat scope, and this is again marketed by Range Right. We've been impressed with that, and also I'm going to be shooting Air Arms Diabolo Field, which is obviously, you know, needs no introduction, one of the best pellets on the market, and it gives it a fair chance. So yeah, see you in a moment. So there we go, that's the Reximex Zone. You've seen us shoot it. Now what do we think of it? Well, I'm very impressed. It shoots really nicely. The negative was that the synthetic magazines were a little bit tight in the action, but the single shot tray worked a treat. Now there is also a feature here with an adjustable cheek piece. I don't think I mentioned that. It's adjustable. The one bolt hole stays the same, so you're adjusting, there's spaces underneath and you can fractionally adjust the height of that, but it's, you know, it's basic, but it works. You've also got that, as I say, the power adjuster. If you want to use that, the Reximex, that in every Reximex I've ever tested, it brings it right down to just a few foot-pounds, so you can dramatically reduce the power. You'll get loads more shots. A great feature. Consistency wise, as I say, the regulated action really proved itself. We had 150 shots with a total spread of 23 feet per second. Now that's excellent in anyone's book. You won't notice that downrange, and as I say, the residual pressure was still significant, so there was, you know, probably over another 100 shots in the gun, so there's a lot of pressure here. They recommend, as I say, a lot of shots because of the big cylinder, which is yeah, part of the design. They recommend a fill pressure 250 bar, which is quite high. I would normally stick to, because of the size of the cylinder and the capacity, I'd stick to 200 bar. You're putting a lot less stress over time, but it's up to you. But yeah, nice gun. Accuracy wise, really impressive. Again, for the, you know, these aren't overly priced, they're very, very keenly priced, and we were getting by the end of it 1/2 inch groups at 40 yards, which is, you know, that's pretty damn good. So yeah, very capable gun for reasonable money. So that's and it shoots really nicely. I like the feel of it. and it's pretty quiet. So yeah, it's got a lot to recommend. So Reximex Zone, hope you liked it. So we are Gunmark TV, and if you've enjoyed that, then like, subscribe or click for notifications, and yeah, we'll see you next time.